All of them? No, brief ones. Brief ones in Sukkot. Okay, first, you have to have a Sukkah. If you are a guy, you have to have a Sukkah, you need to sleep in your Sukkah. A woman does not need to sleep in a Sukkah, but men have to sleep in a Sukkah. Now, if it's raining, or it's just completely like a nightmare to be in your Sukkah, because it's hot, or bugs, and in essence, it's causing you anguish and sadness, then you're patur. You're anus from that mitzvah. Now, you should not cheer if that happens. If that happens, then it's not a good thing. Because the whole goal of Sukkot, it's the only holiday where it says that one of the biggest obligations, one of the biggest mitzvot to do during the entire Sukkot is to be happy the whole time. And the Arizal says that anyone that is happy from the beginning of Sukkot until the end of Sukkot, it's a huge blessing that he will bring on himself or herself the whole year. Now it sounds easy. Yeah, I'm always a happy person. Yeah, but to be happy during this time is not easy. Why? Because sometimes you have guests, sometimes you have people that should have been guests, sometimes you have people that you don't want them to be guests, sometimes you have your own family that you hope, kind of don't want them to be your family, or you want them to be your family the whole time except during Sukkot, or sometimes the food, kind of tastes like shoes, sometimes the shoes look like food because the kids spilled the food on them, all types of things, Baruch Hashem, happen on Sukkot, all types of things. Why? You're with people in a little area usually, for a week. So all types of fun things happen during that time. So it's easy to get upset and this and that. I know one story where one time a guy said, he was trying to do TeShuva. He said, I'm going to do Sukkot. Yishtabach Shimo. Do Sukkot. Chazaku Baruch Sukkot. Where are you going to go to Sukkot? I'm going to go to my brother's house. Oh, you're going to go to your brother's house? You like your brother? Oh, I love my brother. Okay, Baruch Hashem. After Sukkot, he said, no, you're never going to believe it. What happened? I went. Oh, you did? You kept the Sukkot? Yeah, I went. You had a Sukkah, everything. No. What happened? It didn't go so good. Why? What happened? I don't know. We were there. My parents were there. My brothers were there. Everything was there. The food was there. But then, I don't know, I haven't been around them for a while, so I don't know, I guess maybe I forgot how certain things are in my family. And at one point, my brother started arguing with my mom, and all of a sudden he started yelling at her. He started yelling at my mom. And I just couldn't take it. It was so annoying and so obnoxious and so rude that I took the whole table and I flipped the whole table on him. I said, oh, so Sukkot didn't go that good, huh? That happens all the time. Don't let that happen. Why? You have to prepare yourself before Sukkot. That certain things are going to happen. Obviously, never yell at your mom. Never yell at anybody. But the point being is, the Satan tries extra hard to make you unhappy. Why? Because the biggest mitzvah is to be happy. Biggest mitzvah is to be happy. So expect certain things to happen that are particularly annoying. But don't blow up. Don't lose your head. Don't lose your cool. Especially, some of us are very quick-tempered. It's very easy for us to get upset, especially at small, stupid things. You have to do everything you possibly can to go, swallow your lip, bite your lip, staple your lip, do whatever you need to do, smash your head against the wall a few times, come back when you're ready. Don't get mad. Why? The whole mitzvah. If you're upset, if you're angry, if you start fighting, the whole holiday's in the garbage. Now, what happens if you already did it? You got into an argument already. So what? Did you stay angry the whole holiday? Obviously not. Obviously not. Calm down, make peace with your wife, make peace with your husband, make peace with whoever you got into a fight with, and start all over again. Do over. Like in a computer, press Control, Alt, Delete, start over again. Same thing. Same thing. Start all over again. Even if it's an hour left of the Chag, 2 days left of the Chag, whatever it is, start all over again. You have to. Why? That's life. That's life, Rabotai. So, biggest thing is to be happy. Second thing is also you have to build a sukkah, especially guys. Now, when it comes to a sukkah, if you're able to build your own sukkah, chazaku baruch. If you're going to be hosted by somebody else that has a sukkah, that's also fine. But that again means you need to sleep in the sukkah. Number two, you need to eat in the sukkah anytime you eat bread. Anytime you eat bread, you need to eat in a sukkah. Now, if you're not eating bread, you're having a coffee, you're having things that are non-bread, you can eat outside of a sukkah. But the reality is, You should do everything possible to try to eat and do everything you can in the Sukkah. That's the whole point. And you can say, wait, but it's not comfortable. The whole point is for you to be in a Sukkah. Not for you to go have, 3-minute Kiddush in a Sukkah to go back into your air conditioner. That's not the point. The whole point is to be in a Sukkah. Now, yes, of course, in certain places like Florida, it's very, very hot all year round. So you have to try to make do. Now, I can tell you personally, since I moved to Florida, since I moved here, I've been trying to get this air conditioner inside a Sukkah thing right. I have yet to get it right. Every year I try, every year it doesn't really get to it. It just doesn't get to it. I try. And I don't know. Certain people tell me that they were able to succeed. I still don't know what their secret is. A few people that told me their secrets are not allowed. So that's, I guess, how they do it. It's secret if you cheat. But to stay halachically correct, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder because you cannot put a ceiling. Can't put a ceiling on a sukkah. It has to be the schach, which is something living, or something that's that's growing or whatever. And so you can't put like a roof or something like that. So that's a problem. Why? Because even if you have nice wooden walls or plywood, whatever you're using as walls, the air is coming out. So how do you keep it in? And I tried. I've had styrofoam all over my walls, and I've had this. So this year, Be'ezrat Hashem, I think I'm not there, but I think that Be'ezrat Hashem will have better chances than previous years. But if you're not going to make major sacrifices, break your head, toil, don't expect to enjoy Judaism. Not just Sukkot. I'm not just talking about Sukkot. If you're not going to break your head, if you're not going to toil, if you're not going to sweat, if you're not going to exert every bit of ounce of energy, blood, sweat, and tears into the mitzvot, do not expect to enjoy Judaism. You will not enjoy Judaism. In fact, you will hate it. Because the only way to enjoy something is if you invest in it. Needless to say, in your spirituality, in Judaism itself, in the Torah. A lot of people say, oh yeah, I try to study Torah, but I don't feel the sweetness of Torah. Where's the sweetness? What do you mean try to study Torah? Why? Because you think that you're learning 10, 15-minute videos here and there. That's it. That's sweetness of Torah. No, you have to break your head. You have to break your head. You have to, when you're tired, when you're this, when you're that, when you're a problem, you have to break your head. That's when you're eventually, B'ezrat Hashem, get to sweetness. Same thing with Sukkot. If you're not going to break your head to make your Sukkah the way that you always want it to be, you're not going to enjoy it. So that's why, Baruch Hashem, the years that I've exerted myself the most, even if it wasn't perfect, it was still hot, it was still this, I still enjoyed it. I still stayed in my Sukkah pretty much as I possibly could, or needed to, simply because this was my place. And honestly, it's sometimes I hated leaving it. Even though I'm in it, it's like a sauna. It's 500 degrees. Florida, you guys know what I'm talking about. So you're in it. It's 500 degrees in this thing. It's actually colder outside of the sukkah than it is inside the sukkah. It's like, maybe I should just leave this and rent it out as a sauna. It's unbelievable how hot the thing is. So, and you have a fan, and you have an air conditioner, you have all these different things. Nothing's working. It's like, you're blowing back at the air conditioner. Maybe it's hot. Come on, no. Not working. So you try, but you know what? I still stayed in it. Sweating and everything still. Why? It's my baby. And you have all the different things that you put on, and the lights and the different things, and it's you put a lot into it. If you put a lot into it, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to like it. If you don't put a lot into it, you're not going to enjoy it. If you put one of these little rinky-dink things, 3 things, guess what? You're going to look forward to not being in it. Look forward, why? Because you don't want it. You don't want to be in it. Now, in the beginning, you don't know what you're doing. First time you do it, second time you do it, you still don't know. So in the beginning, anything you do is good. But as you grow into it and you start doing it for longer, see that you want to invest more into it. Why? Because in essence, what it's really supposed to be, it's supposed to be a replacement of your house for a week. So that's really, it's supposed to have everything you have in your house. Everything you have in your house. The Chachamim, the Tzaddikim, would literally have even a bathroom in it. Everything would be in it. They wouldn't leave it for a week. They wouldn't go outside even. They would pray in there. They would learn there. They would eat there. They would go to the bathroom there. Everything there. Now, under good conditions, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants our mitzvah, it's not going to rain at all. It's not going to rain at all. Unfortunately, this is the time during the year where normal nature, like as if there's anything other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is a rainy season everywhere in the world. It's rainy season. So we pray, Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants our mitzvah, and it's not going to rain on us. Let it rain everywhere else. There's not on us in our Sukkah. It's important that it doesn't rain at least during the first couple of nights when you're having Kiddush, because if it rains, and rain is going to go inside your Sukkah, you can't enjoy it, you can't eat in the Sukkah. And the Gemara says that if it rains during that night of the Kiddush, and it doesn't stop, if it just rains for an hour or two and then it stops, then you wait and you have the Kiddush. But if it's getting to the point where it's raining, and it's not it's not stopping already, it's getting to the point where it's going into the next day, you have to do the Kiddush inside the house, and that's it. And that's not a good sign if it's on the first night. Why? It means that Hashem doesn't want your mitzvah. So you shouldn't pray. Sometimes people pray, I can't, hopefully it rains so we can eat at home, it's much nicer in the house. No, don't pray for that. It's a very bad sign. Very bad sign. So, thing is that guys need to sleep in the Sukkah. Now, that's the second thing. The happiness, sleeping in a sukkah. Third thing is you have to have the arba minim. You have to have the arba minim, the 4 minim. I don't mean minim like, Mirvis, Manis Friedman, Droka Suto, and Goldberg. Not the 4 minim. 4 minim like, the love, the etrog. Because there's even more minim than just 4. What are you going to do? So anyway, so you have the arba minim. Now, I don't know how the situation is in other places, but I know that the situation here in Florida for the arba minim where we are is atrocious. Apparently we are like the garbage disposal of the rest of the market, because the stuff that comes into the market here that I've seen for the last few years is always like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, like stuff that everybody else doesn't want. And I've seen this already for several years that I've been here. Put it this way, etrogim in Florida, I've seen many, almost actually in America generally. It's a lot of places, in other places even complaining the same thing. Etrogim in general, unless you're going to invest extra time and money to go buy a Yemenite etrog, or an etrog that you know from Morocco, or a etrog that you know from a specific market, a chazonish, or something that's a unique etrog that you know for sure it's an etrog, very, very high likelihood it's a lemon. Very high likelihood. So that's a reality. Now, if you haven't done it already by now, it's kind of too late. So in years past, Baruch Hashem, we would order an etrog from Eretz Yisrael. We have Rabbi Chaim, his brother, gets it for us, Baruch Hashem, and that's worked out. This year too, I didn't offer it to people, number one, because I didn't know if it was even going to be possible to do it this year because of everything that's going on with Corona. It's very hard to do any shipments altogether right now. Number two, the amount of money that people are willing to spend on this stuff doesn't even pay for the shipping. If people wanted to get a top of the line etrog and lulav and this all for like $70 or $100, maybe in your dreams. It costs a lot of money. Why? Because it does. That's it. People are there to make a living. Oh, it's not fair. Okay, so go buy lemons then. We'll go to Publix. Go buy a lemon. Way over my life. People think that everything is supposed to be, because it's a mitzvah, it's supposed to be cheap. The mitzvah, everybody's supposed to do for free. Who said? Who said that it's supposed to be cheap? Like, why do people think like this? I don't understand. Like, in your business, you feel perfectly normal charging the person $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 for whatever nonsense you're selling him, but you want everybody else to do everything for free? Why? Under the name. I don't understand that mentality. But anyway, I don't even offer a lot of this stuff, because again, I know people just have a warped mentality of what things are supposed to cost. But also, if somebody cares enough about this mitzvah, usually they make their own arrangements. They call. Maybe they get somebody to send it to them ahead of time. Point being is, don't be disappointed if your lulav is half the size of what it usually is, because it seems like that's what the market is offering right now. Where the lulavim this year, again, 90% of the ones that I saw this year are literally half the size. Like, lulav is supposed to be like, nice size. It's like a little baby lulav. It's like, would you break the one into two or this way? Like, what happened to it? Not really sure. The etrogim, even the guy that was selling the etrogim, a couple of places I went to, the guy selling the etrogim, like, listen, I will tell you. I said, don't worry. I already took care of it. I ordered from Baruch Hashem from Eretz Israel. I'm just, this is going to be a toy. I'm not going to even use this. The quality of stuff is not the best. You have to work on it a month in advance in order to get what you really want. Which means you have to put yourself a little reminder on your phone. Next year, already start working on it a month in advance. But either way, get yourself arba minim, because you don't know for sure it's a lemon. So you still do whatever the mitzvah you do. You don't have the best. Do what you can. If you get better quality, get better quality. You can't get better quality, you can't get better quality. But the point being is, you have to have the arba minim for the guys. They need to shake them in the morning throughout the Chag, and make sure that this is a mitzvah that you fulfill every morning. Women do not need to fulfill this mitzvah because it's a time-bound mitzvah. Some poskim say that they're allowed anyway. Some say that they're not. Point being is, it's not an obligation for women. For some reason or another, there are certain women that dafka like the mitzvot of the men. I don't really understand that, but I guess that's the Yetzer Hara apparently. She likes to put on tefillin and do a shake a lulav, but modesty not so much. Very strange. But anyway, it's the lulav is an obligation, the etrog and so on. And as I'm sure you could, hear myself and countless other speakers give you 500 drashot about why the lulav, why the etrog, and so on and so on. So I'm not going to spend any time doing that now. There's the same thing. The etrog is like your heart, and so on. Different types of Jews. Aside from that, you have the kiddush. Kiddush at night. It's Kiddush of Yom Tov. You also have to light a Yom Tov candle. Kiddush of Yom Tov, you have to do also the Kiddush the next morning. During the Chag and Chol HaMoed, there's no tefillin for guys. You don't put on tefillin. It's easy not to do a mitzvah, because a lot of us say, oh yeah, I can save myself some time. No, it doesn't necessarily save you time, because you still have to have a long prayer. But here comes in my opinion, the most, if not the second most difficult mitzvah of this holiday. Most, if not second most. Not for me, Baruch Hashem, because of what I do for a living, but if I wasn't doing this for a living and I was still on Wall Street, this would be a difficult mitzvah. What's the mitzvah? You're not allowed to work on Chol HaMoed. You're not allowed to work on Chol HaMoed. Yes, everybody knows you're not allowed to work on the first couple of days of Sukkot. Number one, it's Shabbat. Number two, even if it wasn't Shabbat, it's Yom Tov. Everybody knows you're not allowed to work on that. Thinking that you're allowed to go to work on Chol HaMoed. Wrong. The Gemara says in Masechet Moed Katan, anyone that goes back to work and works on Chol HaMoed like they do on a regular day loses their share of the world to come. It's a big deal. Wait, so how come the supermarket's still working? How come this is still working, that's still working? Then there's a difference. Then you have an explanation. What's the explanation? Number one, if there is a job that's necessary for the tzorech hachag, the needs of the holiday, like food stores and so on, they're needed for the chag, they're needed for the holiday. So that's a perfectly fine to work in the food store, in the supermarket, and things like that. That's number one. Second, if your job itself is a mitzvah, you're teaching Torah, you're doing Kiruv, things like that, that's a mitzvah that's allowed all year round. All year round to do Kiruv. Even on Tisha B'Av, you're allowed to do Kiruv. All the time you do Kiruv. There's no such thing as not learning Torah, not publicizing Torah. So that's the second thing. Third thing is, if there's a threat that you will lose as a result of not working. Now this is the misconception that people have. People think that not making money equals a loss. That's not true. Not making money means not making money. meaning you did not generate a profit. That's not equal to a loss. A loss is whatever you have goes down in value. I.e., now you have a job, boss says, if you don't show up during Chol HaMoed, you're fired. You don't have a job anymore. That's a loss. That's a loss. Or you have a trade that you want to make, and to make a profit, not on Chol HaMoed. But if you don't sell, you could potentially lose money. Okay, that you can do. That you can do. Why? Because there's a threat of a loss. So to threat of a loss, you're allowed to work on that. But as far as to generate a profit, you're not allowed to generate a profit. Okay? Now if in the process of protecting for a loss, you end up generating a profit, that's, again, there's leniencies there. But the point is, you should not be going to work to go generate profits. If your job is a lawyer, doctor, and things of that nature, again, you have to speak to your Rav that knows your business, knows you, knows what the ins and outs of certain things, but you should not work during Chol HaMoed if you don't need to. Again, unless you're in a field of Torah, you're in a field of a mitzvah, and so on and so forth. And this is very important because people get very worried about losing parnasah. Oh, listen, if I don't work for a week, how I'm going to pay the bills. Don't worry about that stuff. We just went through Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, Kadosh Baruch Hu already decided how much you're going to make. It doesn't matter if you work in Chol HaMoed or not. Whatever you're supposed to make, Kadosh Baruch Hu decided already. He decided how much you're going to make. It doesn't make a difference if you work, you don't work. Kadosh Baruch Hu already decided for you. You're not going to lose a penny by not working when Hashem says don't work. You're not going to lose a penny by doing what Hashem says. Hashem already decided how much you're going to make. So, if a person has a difficult time having emunah, this is the time to get it. This is the time to get it. Oh, what am I going to tell my boss? I don't know. Maybe he's going to get mad. Let him get mad. Let him get mad. Listen. Let him get mad. Yeah, but maybe he's going to fire me. Is he for sure going to fire you? No, I don't know if he's for sure going to fire me. Okay, so ask to take off. Yeah, but I just took off for the... Okay, so what? You have to do this. This is the Mesirut Nefesh Hashem wants. That's what He wants. I know it's not easy, especially in the beginning, but this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Surely, when He gave us this holiday and He told us the rules, He knew that you're going to have a job, He knew that you're going to have a certain boss, He knew you're going to have certain annoying customers, He knew all this stuff. He knew. He knew all of this, and He took it all into account, and He still did it. Which means that He's expecting us to pass the test. So if you do not need to work, don't work. If your work is just simply about generating a salary and generating a profit, you are not allowed to work on Chol HaMoed. Not allowed to work. There's a difference of shouldn't work and not allowed to work. Generally speaking, you shouldn't work, period, as far as during Chol HaMoed, even if there is a threat of a loss. But if there's no threat of a loss, you're not allowed to work. Not allowed to work. So that's really the biggest thing. Aside from that, spend some time with the family, learn some Torah, try to learn as much Torah inside the Sukkah as you possibly can. If you, again, if you don't have a Sukkah of your own, make sure to eat in the Sukkah, make sure to spend as much time as you can in the Sukkah, make sure to be as happy as you possibly can, spend some time with the family. This is the time where many religious people usually go to, go to the parks and things like that with their family. I highly doubt people are going to do much of that this year because of this virus scare that's out there. But the point being is that this is really, in a small little box, this is in essence the holiday. This is really the holiday. There's, of course, surely other rules. There's the rules of the schach, there's the rules of this. One other thing that I'll tell you, since there's still time that you could still do something about it, is that I've said this before and it gets certain people angry and I don't really care. It's just because this is what the halacha is. Now, the pop-up sukkahs that you see as the vast majority of the market. Pop-up sukkahs are, in so many words, they get you these, these beams, metal beams, right? And they put this fabric around it, and then you put the mat on top of it. The mat is a kosher mat, no problem. That's good. But the sukkah is not a sukkah. Why? Because it's supposed to be according to halacha, and you can see this in Yakut Yosef, and you see in most poskim. There are only a few that are lenient in regards to this. And they're only lenient if it follows all the rules. The walls of the sukkah are supposed to be like the walls of your house. Meaning, they're not supposed to move if there's standard wind. They're not supposed to move. So that fabric that you have around that sukkah, surely it moves. You go like that to it, and it moves. You put a little fan next to it, it moves. That means it's not a wall. That means you don't have a sukkah. You don't have a sukkah. The bracha you're making is bracha levatala. It's a sin. So if your whole sukkah is this fabric around it, it's not a sukkah. Now they're going to say to you, yeah, no, we're not using that wall as the wall. That fabric as the wall. We're using those strings. I've used those strings in the earlier times, and I can tell you from experience, they're not reliable. The strings are not reliable simply because unless you continuously tighten them throughout the holiday, they're going to loosen up and start moving a little bit. Second they move, you don't have a sukkah. So why play with fire here? You're already taught to build this little empire of yours. Why? Get yourself some walls. Go to Home Depot. Go to Lowe's. Go to, to the wood shop or something. Go somewhere. Get yourself some pieces of wood. You can either get the fences, 3 feet tall, like you got in your sukkah. Your whole sukkah is made of that. Those fences, put it around the 3 walls. You got a sukkah. It doesn't have to go all the way to the ceiling. Just about 3 feet from the ground. 3 feet. Now, if you're handy, and perhaps they ran out of those fences, because everybody hears my shiurim, and you're going to see, Walmart and Costco and everybody run out of fences and everything. Say, Yaron Reuven said fences. That's it. Sold out. Okay. So after everybody's sold out, what do? Get yourself either a 2x4s or something with metal beam, or even a wire. But you have to have 3 of them, and there has to be a separation between them. That's less than 2 amot, something like that. I'll give you the exact measurements. I don't remember the measurements off the top of my head. Between them, where if there's one amma, I think it's 80 centimeters. Between them, if the separation is below that, then it's that empty space that's between them is not considered empty space. It's considered as if it's a wall. That's in essence what those strings are relying on, that there is a space between them. But it has to be something solid. That's my point. Same thing as those strings, those pop-up sukkahs have. Same thing, same concept. 3 strings, but not strings. Something solid. A piece of metal, a 2x4, a plastic tube, whatever, something, but not strings. Because those strings, those ropes, whatever they are, they move. And then your whole sukkah is useless. So invest a little bit of time. I know it's a little bit of a headache, last minute and so on, but what can you do? That's another thing. Another thing on the sukkah is, again, like I said before, it has to be like your house. Meaning, if you have a fancy house, your sukkah better be fancy. So how much time do you have? Not much. You have tonight after the shiur, and you have tomorrow to fancy up your sukkah. All these different things. Put whatever you want in it. Put a couch in it if you want. Put, bells and whistles. Put whatever you want. Point is, make it a nice place. Make it a place you want to be in. Don't make it like one of those places where you can't wait to get out of it. So that means that you have to spend a little bit more money on this than you would typically expect. When a person thinks that, getting deals on the holidays is the most important thing, surely their sukkah is going to be like a toilet. This is not a time to get deals. It's a time to use the money that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you to spend it on the mitzvah. If you're not going to spend money on mitzvot, what are you going to spend it on? Yeah.
But isn't it supposed to remind us of the tents in the desert?
Supposed to remind you of the tent? What, you think the tents in the desert were suffering? I wish I lived in a tent in the desert. I wish that we lived in a tent in the desert. Tents in the desert, shtabach shimo. Tents in the desert, imagine. Now, I'm not going to ask you any personal questions like how many times you take a shower and how many times you wash your clothes. But imagine you didn't have to take a shower for 40 years. But you were always clean. Imagine you never had to go to the bathroom once for 40 years because you're always clean. Imagine you never had to cook because the food arrived at your house, right at your door, and it was always exactly the best possible flavor that you were thinking of at all times. Imagine life was so comfortable, your feet never hit the ground because you were on a cloud. You were on a cloud for 40 years. Imagine you didn't have to change your clothes for 40 years, but it was always pristine clean. Pristine clean, meaning it was washed while it's on you. While it's on you. Yeah, but you're a little boy, then you're going to be a big boy. How? It's growing with you. The desert, Rabotai, don't make anybody fool you. The desert was not the desert of today. There's scorpions and snakes and Hashem Yishmor, if you're going to make it, it's hot. The desert was Gan Eden. Gan Eden. Am Yisrael lived in Gan Eden for 40 years. Gan Eden for 40 years. Only reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu put it in a desert and not, let's say, in Tel Aviv, Hashem Yishmor, or in some other place like that, is because He wanted us removed from the whole world in order for us to focus on Torah for 40 years. Focus on Torah. So the tents that we had, the place that we had in the desert were very nice, very comfortable, not hot at all, and beautiful. Nice. I wish I lived there right now. So imagine not having to go to the bathroom before. Just that alone is enough. But the thing is, so again, as far as the Sukkah, yes, it's in memory of the tents and so on, but not in a negative sense. Not in a negative sense, but rather in a positive sense where it's outside of the norm. We're separating from our norm, from our mundane, okay, to go focus only on Hashem for a week. Because during the week, regular week, okay, so you have Shabbat, great, but 6 days a week, hopefully it's only 6 days a week, you're thinking about, I have the work, and I have this, and I have that, I have responsibilities, and I have bills, and how much time do you have left to think about Hashem? How much? So Sukkot, the whole week's supposed to be you and Hashem. Why? Getting out of the mundane. Leave your house, go to the little house of Hashem for a week. So it's not supposed to be uncomfortable. I actually have some pictures and videos that I've seen throughout the years. People mamash make their sukkah like better than a house. They have couches and refrigerators and ovens, all mamash like a house. Unbelievable, and it's beautiful. I'm thinking to myself, like, one guy had a waterfall. He had a waterfall inside his sukkah. I wish I was handy to do that. But people really invest their time and energy into their sukkot when they understand the value of a mitzvah. Now, of course, it takes time, it takes money, it takes effort, and that's my whole point. The more you invest into the mitzvot, the more you're going to enjoy them. The less you invest, the less you're going to enjoy them. In a little box, this is in essence the Sukkot. I'm sure there's a million other rules that I'm not mentioning, but this is it. If there's anything specific you guys have asked about it, we can go over it, but I think it's enough about the topic. Anything else that I'm missing? V'samachta b'chagecha is the biggest obligation. You have to be happy on the holiday. That's the biggest thing. Also, if you're going to go and eat, surely you guys only eat kosher, and anyone that's watching only eats kosher, so you don't have to worry about if it's a kosher place you're going to eat at. Usually the kosher places, if they're open, they have little sukkot that you could eat in their places. So many of them have little sukkot, so you can eat in those places. But if you're not eating bread, then you don't need to eat in the sukkah. You don't eat in the sukkah. Next.
B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Bezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app, full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the Shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Kiruv and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chava Tzlacha.